After weeks of frustrations with people trying to book vaccine appointments, the state has a new website that's up and running, aiming to streamline the process.
Yes, Cheryl, the governor explaining just moments ago how it works. John Sherrick is live at the state capitol after speaking with the governor. And John, Governor Kemp also announcing more vaccination sites that will be coming online.
Right, there are going to be 4 mass vaccination sites across the state. Beginning on Monday, the one in Atlanta will be in Hapeville at the Delta Air Museum near the Delta headquarters near the airport. That online website you mentioned is already live. People can go onto that website right now at myvaccinegeorgia.com. myvaccinegeorgia.com. And what we're told is you can sign up now, and even if you are not one of the eligible people to receive the vaccine yet, the state will have your information, and when your group does become eligible, you will then be given an appointment for a vaccine. And the state in 2 weeks is going to start expanding eligibility, probably including teachers. The state just surveyed educators across the state, and not everyone wants the vaccine yet.
That survey that included over 171,000 staff member responses shows that only 45% of staff in our schools would choose to be vaccinated, or roughly 78,000 school staff in total.
And that is important information for the state to have as the state plans how many vaccines they're going to be able to have available for those who do want the vaccine. Beginning next week, the state's allocation every week is going to expand to nearly 200,000 doses a week. And that is in addition to the allocations that will be going directly to private providers such as Walmart and Kroger pharmacies. So the state is looking to expand eligibility and make it easier to get those appointments.
All right, John Sherrick for us tonight. A lot of new information there. Thank you, John. New numbers from the Department of Public Health show 1.6 million Georgians have received at least one shot, with more than 503,000 that are fully vaccinated with both. Fulton County, which is Georgia's most populous, leads the way. More than 229,000 doses have been administered there. Cobb County has administered over 107,000 doses. DeKalb County given out more than 94,000 doses, and Gwinnett County has nearly 65,000 doses administered.